And welcome back to Boom and Bust. A great panel already. The Honorable Joe Oliver and Sandra Pupatello are joining us today. Gary Marr will be back next time. Other big news recently has been another lowering of the Bank of Canada prime rate to, I think, 4.25%, unless I'm mistaken. Joe Oliver, let's start with you. What is the impact of that? What do you make of all of this?
Well, this is the third quarter point increase since July, and it's an indication,
yeah.
Obviously, that the inflation rate is coming down closer to the desired 2% level, and that's as a result of a number of factors, but it's a focus, of course, and it has to be the focus of the Bank of Canada. Inflation rates moved up to about 8%. In contrast, interest rates at 9.1% in the United States, and rates have been coming down, reflecting a weaker economy, higher unemployment, and just generally a less robust economy with flat or declining GDP per capita. So what the Fed, the Canadian Fed, the Bank of Canada, wants to do is to prevent the inflation rate coming down too far and economic growth really faltering. They don't want to precipitate an inflation. They're trying to get a soft landing. It's a very delicate task to do that. And the quarter point decrease this month was totally anticipated. In fact, some might have thought that it could have been a little more. There will be more coming. And I think the target that observers are forecasting is about from 4.25 down to about 2.5 by the middle of next year. I mean, no one is suggesting that's precise, but it's in that direction. And what I think the bank has a little bit of comfort on is that the U.S. Fed is likely to decrease rates I think it's on the 18th of this month, by at least a quarter, probably a quarter, could be as high as half a point. But the significance of that for the Canadian economy is that the pressure on the Canadian dollar will be less intense, and I think people are anticipating that that U.S. decrease in rates. So it removes a concern that the Bank of Canada might otherwise have. But they had to reduce rates, and some people think they're even late in the game because it's interesting, they rely on data, and that sounds very objective, and in one sense, of course, it is, but it's not anticipatory. And they were wrong in where inflation was going to go. They thought it was transitory, and they admitted that they were wrong. The question is, are they a bit late on reducing rates? Well, we don't know, but they're headed in the right direction.
Sandra, what good news then? Is it good news to have the rate cut?
It is good news, but I think I'm still mindful of many people are coming up for renewal in that 5-year term. So if they're even 3 years into the 5, there are many people who have yet to be hit with the 2.5 or 2% increase in the new rate that they're going to get. So
this is the mortgage rate. Yeah.
So we haven't had that full 5-year impact yet. And so I worry that those stories that I still hear about where people are paying hundreds more a month just in mortgage payments, which means everything else is going flat. They can't afford the groceries they used to, housing, all of those things that are all wrapped up. The good news is the oil prices and gas prices are at least steady and not rising like they were. But I do think that given the market out there, there's housing starts that haven't continued, builders who put projects on hold because they're just not having the sales they anticipated. So if I'm a young couple looking to purchase right now or go into a larger home, am I going to sit and wait and see that in mid-October I might get yet another decrease? So I'm just not going to move into the market. And that's what I see happening, that people aren't putting their house up because they're not getting the prices that they might have had even 2 years ago or last year.
Right.
And that's our reality. That will this 25% make a big difference in that rate? I don't think it's going to make a huge difference until they see that they're back down to 2.5, that we're spoiled in our
Right.
generation because we think that's normal.
Right.
Anyone 10 years older than me thinks that we've been spoiled all this
Sure.
time.
We're going to take another break. We'll be back with our guests after these messages.